watch your favorite cartoons? WESN brings back those magical mornings with Retro Saturdays.
Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born!
Where the young at heart relive the fun. Join us every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, only on WESN, the content capital.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan, and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.
The Caribbean has some of the highest rates of overweight and obesity in the Americas.
Parents are usually meticulous about what goes into their children's mouths from 0 to 1 year. But then something happens after 1 year when we say to them, eat from the family pot. Right. Somehow the family pot extends to snacks, both sugary and salty, soft drinks, and candies of all descriptions.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really want
to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I'll ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say, we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
WESN.
morning. Welcome to AM Prime on WESN. I am Takia Thompson, your host for our Motivational Monday show. This morning, we'd like to start off with only positive thoughts and prayers in our Morning Boost segment. We bring to you the Serenity Prayer.
To accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is and not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next.
Amen. Now, moving ahead with our mindset aspect segment, in today's world of curated feeds and constant good vibes only messaging, positivity is often seen as the ultimate goal. But what happens when the pressure to stay positive begins to silence real emotions? Therapist Sharon Bermudez discussed with us the fine line between healthy optimism and toxic positivity, and why true healing sometimes starts with allowing ourselves to feel, not just forcing a smile. Good morning, Ms. Sharon.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm well, thank you.
Now, we hear the term toxic positivity more often now. So how would you define it in simple terms?
All right, so to define toxic positivity, I want to look at positivity. And positivity in its most simple terms is simply the decision to focus on the good. So it's intentionally looking for the good regardless of the situation that you're in. Toxic positivity, the person is attempting to achieve positivity, but they cross the line. So that they are overgeneralizing and applying positivity across all situations, everything that is going on with them, without doing some of the work that belongs in positivity. It ends up being a situation where there's a fair amount of denial, for want of a better way of looking at it.
Now, you started giving an example, but can you tell us, how does toxic positivity show up in everyday relationships?
All right, so toxic positivity is going to, as I said, cross the line.
Yeah.
So in crossing the line, one of the things that may happen is that you may deny the reality of the thing that is happening in relationships. You may minimize it. So deny it flat out, you're saying it's not happening, which in and of itself is very crazy making. If something is happening and your partner is saying to you it's not happening, it causes the person to deny, to question their ability to interpret everything. So it could make them feel like if they are going crazy. That's the cost of denial. Minimizing, I'm acknowledging it, but I'm not acknowledging it to the degree that it's actually happening. The problem with minimizing is that it increases the risk that comes with it. So if you imagine yourself going down the road and you're seeing a car coming towards you, if you acknowledge it early on, that allows you to take action to be able to deal with it. It minimizes the risk of an accident. But if you wait until the car is head on with you to take some steps to deal with it, that increases your risk of an accident. The minimizing in and of itself is a skill, and it's an important skill. But when we go too far with it, it increases our risk.
Yeah.
And then the third thing that it does, it is that it invalidates the other person's experience, or it invalidates what is actually happening within the relationship. And invalidation in and of itself, again, makes people question themselves and maybe feel guilt and shame that they are feeling or reacting in the way that they are feeling and reacting. So when you are in relationship with somebody who practices a toxic level of positivity, it tends to kind of break down the fabric of relationship.
Yeah. Now, do you think that social media has a part to play in the rise of toxic positivity? And if so, how do you think it has?
I think it has some part to play. It can't put everything on social media, but I definitely think it does, because remember with social media, the algorithm is just pushing up content according to what is the interest of the person.
Yes.
Right? And if this person is looking for all of these affirmative messages, this is the content that is going to be pushed up all of the time. And there's nothing wrong with affirmative messages. But again, if the source is coming from that space of toxic positivity, you are getting the message that toxic positivity is positivity. And you're not actually realizing that this is something that is not helpful, it's not useful, you don't know how to fix it, how to make a change towards a positive approach to doing things. So it just sends a stream of content that doesn't help you to fix the situation, so or even to realize that there's a problem. All the content is doing is affirming what you believe in the first place.
Yeah. Now, you started off telling us some of these signs, and even subtly, can you expand and, share some more in terms of what can be happening in terms for that person to either engage in toxic positivity with either themselves or someone else in that manner?
Well, I do believe that it's coming from a good place, right? I think the difference between toxic positivity and positivity is the process that is being used. So the person who is using toxic positivity is kind of using a topical approach to a problem. They're not really getting into the root of the problem. So the approach is just generally one that kind of pushes things aside, brushes things off, says things like what falls into the truisms. God is good, everything is going to be all right, everything is going to work out, etc. So it keeps their life experiences at that level. In the end of the day, life has challenges. The nature of life is that good things happen and some not good things happen. The ability to be able to focus on the good is actually a very good set of skill sets that allows somebody to manage stress, to manage anxiety, and to be able to get more out of life. It actually has mental health benefits and it has physical benefits.
Yeah.
But when the way that you do it translates instead into this click moments, these truisms, these things that just say that everything should be okay, don't worry about it, just put on a smile and do what you have to do, everything is going to be fine. You do not realize that you are walking around in a dysregulated state, right? Now, our emotions, we have positive emotions and we have negative emotions. I consider the positive emotions to be the feel-good emotions.
Right.
I feel happy, I feel glad, I feel joyful, I feel excited, etc., etc. And then we have the negative emotions, which are the not feel-good emotions. I feel sad, I feel betrayed, I feel angry, I feel grief, etc., etc. When we use those words, positive emotions and negative emotions, we lose sight of the fact that all emotions, whether they are positive or negative, play a functional role in our life. When I'm experiencing sadness, sadness is trying to tell me something about my mental state and what is happening in my relationships. When I'm experiencing anger, anger is trying to tell me something about a boundary that has been violated. Whatever emotion I'm experiencing, it's trying to tell me something based on what it has evaluated as a risk in my life. So the problem when I take this very surface view and I don't really look at where those emotions are carrying me is that I don't get to an appreciation of what needs to be worked on in my life.
Right.
And if I am not thinking about a problem, I'm also not thinking about a solution for the problem. It means that I'm going to get stuck. And that's one of the real costs of taking that very kind of superficial look at what is happening and just waiting for everything to be fine.
Yeah. Now, along those lines, what does real healing would really look like from a mental and even so emotional standpoint?
Say it again?
What does real healing look like from a mental and emotional standpoint?
Okay, so a real feeling allows you to engage your authentic feelings. It does not negate your authentic feelings. In other words, if the truth is that in this relationship, in this situation, in this moment in time, I do feel angry, I do feel hurt, I do feel betrayed, I do feel confused, I do feel frustrated. Fill in the blanks for what I am feeling. My feeling in and of itself is not bad. It allows me to be able to acknowledge my feelings and not delegitimize them because they are awkward and they're going to cause trouble or so. But instead, I take the time to understand why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, and to understand what is the thing that needs to be fixed so that I can go about fixing it, right? So when if I'm thinking about not real feelings, not real feelings is those where I'm telling myself I feel something that I am not. So I feel sad, but I'm telling myself I'm happy, will make me dysregulated. I am feeling sad because there's a situation that is in my life that is triggering off sadness, and most people, when they experience that situation, will feel sad. So acknowledging my sadness is not a bad thing, but I am dysregulated when I feel sad, but I am saying that I am happy. That's not real, that's not authentic, and that is going to come at a cost, because it basically means that I am suppressing my feelings.
Yeah. Now, would you say that acknowledging your feelings or how you may feel in that moment is the first step? And how can individuals create a space to process the even difficult emotions in a healthy way, more or less?
Well, I would say that dealing with your feelings is a number one first step.
Yeah.
Actually, because feelings is, so the building blocks are thoughts and feelings and behavior. We have pretty much close to total control over our behavior.
Right.
We have some control over our thoughts. We have no control over our feelings. You can deny them or you can acknowledge them, but they are going to be present and they will do what they do. So if you think about the iceberg effect, where you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, but underneath there's a whole amount of stuff that is taking place.
Yes.
If I take my feelings and I'm throwing it underneath the water, maybe I am not seeing it because I'm not acknowledging it. Maybe others are not seeing it because I'm not acknowledging it. But it's there under the water. So something can easily come along that hits it, and we know what happens when an iceberg hits a ship. We don't have further than the Titanic to go to that. So in my mind, it does not make sense denying feelings. What we want to do with feelings instead is to give them a voice, because what they do, they are part that are trying to signal us to a particular risk that is being perceived.
Right.
And if we try to suppress them, it makes them stronger. If we listen to them, they have done their job. They technically become weaker. So that's the first thing. Acknowledging allows those feelings to kind of quieten down a bit. Acknowledging allows you to be able to take an eagle-eyed view, because just because you feel it doesn't make it real. So it allows you to take an eagle-eye view as to whether or not it is in fact signaling a risk that is legitimate. And if it does, it begins to carry down that part of problem solving.
Yeah.
So my thing with feelings would be acknowledge, listen, create a space to ventilate or to let them out, because when it's negative feelings, they are negative. So if we hold them onto us, it is going to come at a cost. So we have to find a way to let them out and then problem solve and find a solution to deal with the issue.
And now with this change, how would you say it psychologically can affect persons moving forward in terms of the one who may be conditioned to always, having to stay strong or stay positive? How would it, on a psychological level, help them get that balance?
Because of its cost. Now, so again, we need to realize we have no control over feelings.
Right.
But we have lots of control when it comes to behavior. We have lots of control when it comes to thoughts. So you can be listening to this and realize, oh, she's speaking about me.
Right.
This holding this frame of being happy all the time, of being positive all the time, has come at a cost. And I have lost my voice. I feel overlooked in relationships. I see the cost that it has on me. And then you can make a decision. I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. And now what you're trying to find is the correction that moves you from toxic positivity to positivity. Because as I said, positivity so toxic positivity hooks up with depression and anxiety and stress and physical problems and those sort of things, right? You're going to know it in its fruit. You're going to see it in your mental health and in your physical health. But positivity hooks up into improved resilience, it hooks up into improved stress levels, improved anxiety levels, improved depression, improvement in health. Again, you're going to know it by its fruit.
Yeah.
So if you're recognizing that I am in more of a toxic way of dealing with things than positive, then now you're trying to find the swing to what would happen with positivity that is well articulated. As I said, I think that the difference between them, the intent is the same, but the process that is used is different.
Yeah. And would you say that on the same line for healthy optimism and forcing positivity, would you see the correlation there for that also?
Positivity is going to lean into the healthy, right? Forcing optimism is going to lead into the toxic positivity, because again, you are defined by a narrative. You are either choosing to self-impose a narrative,
right?
So I need to be grateful. I need to be happy all the time. Everybody needs to see me smile, and I just need to be the most happy, positive person, no matter what is going on in life. I just have to be positive, positive, and positive. You are either self-imposing that narrative on yourself, or others have begun to expect that of you, or others tell you this is what you have to do, and you are choosing it. Healthy optimism is different, right? With positivity, it's not that I am denying reality. I am looking at the whole. I am watching the entire picture, the parts of it that I like and the parts of it that I don't like. I am trying to figure out a way to deal with the issues that are problematic. But at the same time, I am also going to allow myself to focus on the positive. It sounds like the same thing, but there's actually some difference that is there. Because you're utilizing skills like reframing, which is like a very good skill to have. You're utilizing skills of gratitude, which is again a very good skill to have. You're utilizing this ability to process your feelings and to work through your feelings rather than denying them. So when you get to that place of healthy optimism, there are quite a few psychological skills that you're using that is going to get you to where you want to go.
Yeah. Now, thank you, Sharon, so much for coming on, and having these conversations with us is so important, and it's really important that you get to start your day off with it as well. So now persons looking on can have a shift in mindset to take on the day. Thank you again for being a part of this morning. Guys, we are about to take a short break, but when we come back, we have more engaging conversations, so stick around for it.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
The Caribbean has some of the highest rates of overweight and obesity in the Americas.
Parents are usually meticulous about what goes into their children's mouths from 0 to 1 year. But then something happens after 1 year when we say to them, eat from the family pot. Right. Somehow the family pot extends to snacks, both sugary and salty, soft drinks and candies of all descriptions.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 6861662 and start building your future.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan, and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.
the home of Caribbean content, is growing, and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Nah, you don't need to register nothing. You don't need, we can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
They believe with different criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
Welcome back. Now, May is recognized as National Women's Health Month, a time dedicated to encouraging women to prioritize their well-being. In our Health 360 segment, we'd like to discuss the importance of this month and its significance.
Every day, women fight uphill battles.
Not because they lack talent, not because they aren't trying hard enough,
the field itself is the challenge.
Over 676 million women live within 30 miles of war.
Women deliver most of the world's health care, but hold only 25% of leadership.
Working women spend nearly twice as much time on childcare and housework as men.
74% of women athletes work extra jobs to make ends meet.
When we level the playing field, women don't just succeed, they challenge everything.
And as they rise, they bring their communities with them.
Equality isn't a dream, it's a choice.
In a world where women often juggle multiple roles, from caregivers to professionals, they can easily place their own health on the back burner. Today, we speak with medical professional Dr. Sasha Supnanan from the Everlife Medical Center to explore practical ways women can take better care of themselves while still managing the many demands of daily life. Good morning, Dr. Sasha.
Good morning.
So, from your experience as a general practitioner, how common is it for women to neglect their own health while caring for others?
So, in my opinion, it is very, very common for, women to neglect their health. And this is because, a lot of women usually prioritize others than themselves. Yeah. For example, their children, their spouse, or even at the workplace. And, I often see a lot of women delaying their symptoms until, until it becomes necessary. Yeah. I would say this is due to a lot of time constraints, even financial burdens, or sometimes, they will think that their symptoms are not very severe to seek medical attention.
Now, you started touching on the delay part as to why women would, delay, and go in a bit more in terms of why do they think they need to delay it or even seek medical health?
Sure, because, over time, the constant act of balancing, juggling work, juggling at home life, and they delaying their symptoms, it can actually cause a lot of stress, fatigue, and burnout. And over time, not only that, but it leads to physical symptoms, for example, hypertension, obesity, weight gain or weight loss, even hormonal imbalances. And of course, mentally, it can cause a strain on your emotional exhaustion and lead to, anxiety or even depression. Yeah.
Now, women often wear multiple hats.
Right.
We both know this.
Yes.
So motherhood, professional life, and even caregiver. What impact does this have on their physical and mental health over time?
So, as I said before, physically and mentally, it causes a lot. So, physically, we have a lot of medical conditions that I will see over time. For example, high blood pressure, even, obesity by increasing the risk of high blood sugar as well, or even, hormonal imbalances. And that's why we see a lot of women nowadays also having an increase in terms of, mental illnesses such as anxiety and even depression. Yeah.
And what are some early signs or warning signs that women may be burning out or even neglecting their health?
So, I would see a lot of women presenting to me with, persistent irritability, for example, frequent headaches, poor sleep, appetite changes in terms of their symptoms and signs. And over time as well, emotionally, they will feel very, very overwhelmed or even detached from, common hobbies or things that they once loved doing. Yeah.
A lot of women probably would feel like, they just pass the time for it, or, it's seasonal. Things are seasonal, so they're not taking it on. Now, what are the most important routine checkups or screenings every woman should prioritize, regardless of how busy life can be?
Sure. So, in that aspect, I would always suggest to my patients regular blood pressure monitoring, right? Some women, usually will think, well, their blood pressure is fine unless, we do check it into office or, at home. So regular blood pressure monitoring, regular blood sugar monitoring as well. I would always tell my patients in terms of cholesterol, check their cholesterol as well. Breast exams are very essential. Even pap smears. And of course, it all depends on your risk factors and your family history as well.
Yeah. And what ages are we looking at in terms of starting to pay closer attention to issues like you mentioned, blood pressure, reproductive health, and even, doing that breast checkup?
So I would say in terms of blood pressure monitoring, that will usually start in early adulthood. Right? In terms of, let's say, breast health. Breast health will usually start in my late teens or early 20s because it's very important. As well as reproductive health, I would also say in the late teens or even early 20s. We could always start with, clinical exams and imaging for breast health as well, such as, breast ultrasounds, or mammograms in the late 40s or even before as well, if your risk factors, expose you to such.
Now, sometimes women may hear these things, and especially when you said, late teens, early 20s, they may get scared about going about doing these checkups or procedures. Is there anything to be scared about when it comes to this?
Of course not. I would say that it is something not to be scared of. Early screening is what is very, very important and makes very big changes.
Yeah. Yes. Nice. So how important is mental health and overall wellness, and what are some simple ways women can check in with themselves?
So I would say in the world we live in right now, mental health is very, very important. And it is equally important as, physical health. And, simple ways that busy women can actually prioritize themselves and check in. I would say, ask yourself a simple question: how are you feeling on a daily basis? Always prioritizing yourself. Take small breaks if necessary. Prioritizing your sleep. And, just seeking help from either a medical profession, so for example, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, even your medical doctor, for example, your general practitioner, when it is needed.
Yeah. And now, women sometimes have demanding schedules, right? So what are some realistic, manageable habits that they can adopt to stay healthy?
So I always like to keep it very simple. For example, I'm trying to practice it myself as well. So staying simple, we want to stay hydrated. You know, we want to aim for our balanced meals as well. We want to prioritize our sleep. That's very important. You know, we want to get that physical activity in for at least 20 to 30 minutes a few times a week. You know, and you know, these short, consistent changes makes a very, very big difference.
They really do.
Yeah.
And what would you say are some of the most common health conditions you see affecting women locally that should be prevented or even better managed?
So I see a lot of hypertension, right, high blood pressure, obesity, anemia, and those are just a few to name, right? And many of these can be prevented, or I could even say controlled, via lifestyle modifications, regular screening, checkups with your doctor, and of course adherence to, you know, your medication or treatment.
Yeah. And what does putting your health first realistically look like for that everyday woman?
So putting your health first, of course, doesn't mean neglecting others, but it just means prioritizing your health alongside your responsibilities alongside them. So of course, you know, scheduling your doctor visits, taking time when needed, again, taking your small breaks, and, you know, just taking your medications as prescribed, following instructions by your doctor can make a very, very big difference. And, you know, just setting these boundaries help a lot.
And how can women become more proactive when it comes to understanding their own bodies and health needs?
So, of course, women can be more proactive in terms of basically paying attention to their bodies, not, you know, ignoring symptoms or feelings that they would usually have. Attending routine checkups, always adhering with your routine checkups, you know, asking questions, educating themselves about their, you know, education and their risks and their family history, things like that.
Right. So you'd say that it is important to at least know a bit of your family history before going for these checkups, or when you go to these checkups, you inquire to get more information.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Now, is the process an easy one? Because you said it's nothing to be scared of, but could you give us an example and maybe give us that walkthrough of how that process may look like?
Sure. So, you know, it all depends on public and private sector, because your care usually differs a lot. So I can speak in terms of my office, you know, how we usually, if a patient presents to me, I of course will start with history taking. So I'll always ask my patients, you know, what's the issue today? What's your presenting complaint? And I will take a thorough history, you know, allergies, for example, any past surgical history, you know, any medical conditions, and so on. And that's how the family history also comes into play. For example, if my patient has been, you know, having some issues, being diagnosed with cancer, it often, you know, reflects in terms of their family history as well. And based on my history, then I will know what relevant investigations I can proceed with. For example, if maybe laboratory investigations, such as my blood testing, or, you know, imaging, for example, X-ray is needed, a CT scan is needed, what it might be, and then that would be able to, you know, give me my diagnosis or follow up on my patients.
It really sounds pretty simple and straightforward, and it's nothing to think too much on. It's really just making that time, or no, really, it's really just making the time, making the time to get it. Now, if there's one message you want women to take away this National Women's Health Month, what would it be?
So I would say it's to all women out there. You know, taking care of yourself is very important. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You know, taking care of your health, it is not selfish, but it's very, very essential. And when you're able to better take care of yourself,